I'd like to call to order the May 5th meeting of the Oak Ridge Board of Education. If you would please join me in honoring America as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much. We have some distinguished guests here with us tonight. I'd like to recognize Mayor Warren Gooch, Mayor Pro Tem Jim Dodson, and Councilmember Chuck Hope. We appreciate you all being here. The next thing is our approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion. Motion made by Dr. Hartman, seconded by Ms. Craven. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we have only one item. It is our presentation of the fiscal year 26 budget. Dr. Borchers, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Chair, and thanks everyone for being here. We're going to go through this fairly quickly, but myself, Ms. Van Dyke, and Mr. Thacker will be presenting the presentation this evening. I'd like to start off with a little bit of why we're here, what we do, what we're here for, and that's for our kids. Always start with our mission and our vision, our mission of excellence in education, and our visions of having every student prepared for college, career, and life success. We've added our core values to the wall over here. I'm not sure if our council has seen those since they've been put up, but our number one core value is obviously students first, and when we put this budget together, we had that in mind, obviously. Want to go through some recognitions, some really great things that have happened lately in the Oak Ridge schools. National Blue Ribbon Schools back to back. We had Linden and Glenwood, and only 6 schools in Tennessee get nominated to have one of those awards. So to go back to back was pretty impressive. We've all heard about our Wildcat Manufacturing. We again won the TSBA Excellence in Education Award. They only give one of those, and I think well deserving for that program. We're continuing our Baldridge Performance Excellence work. Actually have our consultant in this week doing a review, and we're hoping to get better at getting better and apply for level 4 here. I think it's spring of 26, Dr. Williams. We've had 3 reward schools back in 24, and a new stat that's come out, the COVID Learning Recovery, one of 4 schools in the state and one of about 106 in the country that are now performing at pre-pandemic levels in both reading and math. And when you think about that nationally, there's about 13,500 districts nationally, so to be a part of that 100, I think is pretty great. And then, of course, we perform in the top 10% of many categories in our state assessments. So just a reminder, we are growing. I don't think anybody doubts that that's happening. We've used this slide before with the census data. Things are moving, things are happening here in Oak Ridge, but we had kind of a slowdown in our student enrollment growth, which kind of put some of our plans and discussions on hold for a year because we haven't gained that many students this current year. We still are working with our consultant. We'll have to see what happens here come spring. I'm hopeful that we don't all of a sudden get 200 new students next school year. That really would jump this into hyperdrive. But this year we were kind of sitting back and waiting because those numbers just didn't happen like they were starting with 2021 on that steep trajectory. But we still feel that we're on course here to exceed our capacity by 27, 28 at the elementary level. But again, we will watch those numbers when our kiddos come back in July. And then just a little bit of college, career, and life success, and then we'll go to the budget. We are launching a new nuclear pathway in the Oak Ridge schools. Given all of this investment that we all know about that's happening in our community, we felt it was just appropriate for us to have a pathway for our students into the jobs that are going to be created right here in our community. So a big part of that, though, is we've been working with Y12, ORNL, and those folks. We have to educate our families, our students, our staff about what jobs exist out there in this field. So that'll be a big part of this work. We started a little bit by encouraging the career exploration last year, and then right now we currently have 30 students enrolled in this new class. Part of the budget recommendation tonight will be for another additional teacher to teach this pathway, and all kinds of partnerships with Rowan State and UT as well. So just very excited about that program and look forward to that growing. We'll go ahead and kick it over to Ms. Van Dyke.
Let me turn the microphone on, sorry. Hopefully this clicker will work. So we're just going to kind of go over the kind of 24 actuals, where we're at right now in FY25, and look at our FY26 proposed budget. Let's see, this one. Oh, there it goes. So FY24, we saw additional TISA funding that allowed continued support of positions that we had added during COVID. And then we added numerous additional positions due to increasing enrollment, and of course that increasing enrollment means that we get some additional funds from the state and the TISA funding. Again, TISA funding model, that was really the big thing in 23 and 24, was just kind of getting used to that new funding model. We were seeing increases in property and sales tax revenues, and then also planning for the sunsetting of the COVID era grants. We, as Dr. Borchers had said, continued increases in district enrollment resulting in additional funding, and continued positive results from the PLC model and continuous improvement planning. Also, as Dr. Borchers had mentioned, the Baldrige framework work that we're working on. So this year, we budgeted to continue to keep those additional positions, continue to plan for the enrollment growth that we were expecting to see. We worked with RSP and Associates. I'm sorry, I really don't like public speaking, y'all, so so bear with me. Every year I do this, I feel like I get a little better, but I still don't like it. Property tax revenue continued to increase, especially from Rowan County this year. We saw a lot of increases that we weren't really expecting. Sales tax revenues on both Rowan and Anderson, and state funding for summer learning camps. For the 5th year in a row, we actually got notification of our funding for that today. We're on track with the budget in most of our accounts, and we are continuing to see cost increases on services, supplies, and materials, thank you to inflation. So looking ahead to next year, as we went into this budget cycle, we really wanted to prioritize our people. So we worked with Lean Frog, who we worked with before in like 2019 and 2020, to develop a new salary schedule for our teachers that involves the consolidation and updating salary schedules for numerous positions. We've kept a contingency for a couple of additional potential teaching positions based on enrollment. So if we see that enrollment next year, we've got some money set aside for those positions. And we're looking at replacing the devices for grades 5 through 12. The TISA funding base rate has been increased to $7,295 per student, and there's a 25% hold harmless for economically disadvantaged numbers in effect for FY26. That's across the state. All districts are seeing that hold harmless. And we're continuing to evaluate facilities in partnership with the city to plan for future growth. It's working. There we go. So our goals, as always, focus on opportunities that will improve and enhance the district's portrait of a graduate, expand our opportunities for students, as with the nuclear pathway, prioritize investment in our staff so that we can hire and retain the best and most qualified staff in the region, increase efficiency and effectiveness by consolidating our salary schedules, and maintain effective strategy for cohesion, cohesive operation. So our instructional and budgetary goals are kind of what we started with. Again, we did the salary analysis and evaluations of our existing salary, and then what we had, what needed to be changed, and then worked with our third party on that, and that went fast. We looked at our estimated state TISA funding and the anticipated sales and property tax revenues, and then we were planning on using some fund balance this year. So our summary of all funds, our proposed budget is $83 million, give or take, for our general purpose fund. Federal grants, we're expecting about $4.6 million, $3.6 million for the cafeteria program. Other funds, which is what mostly runs through this, is our Family Resource Center, and then our extended child care program of $570,000. And the extended child care program is a self-funding program. Again, our projected sales and property tax estimates are based on current year and historical trends. And then just some information, we got our enrollment numbers and student enrollment increase of 68 students in Anderson County, and just a fractional increase of students in Roane County in our ADMs this year. It was like a 0.5 student or something like that. It was very small. The TISA funding estimate is based upon the March estimate that we received from the state, as well as we estimate for projected incentive payments. And we estimate about $1.5 million increase over FY25. We have budgeted no current increase from the city for this year, but we do plan to use fund balances in support of the FY26. And again, as with all years, we closely monitor our revenues throughout the year and make recalculations as needed. Okay, that jumped twice, I'm sorry. There we go. So just kind of high level, overall increase of 8.12% over our FY25 amended budget, proposed salary increases for all staff, inflationary cost increases were requested by all departments. We are seeing TISA increases, addition of anticipated one-time teacher bonus funds. That's something that we really didn't get into a whole lot here, but that has been budgeted to pay out in July. Increased interest revenue and tax revenue. The Innovative Schools Model grant budget has been reduced to match estimated funds remaining, and FY26 is the final year for that grant from the state. And a decrease in TCRS contribution rates, and those rates are given to us by the state. Really no increases expected in our federal funds this year, so we've got a decrease of 4.44% budgeted. Some of that's in Title I, but most of our federal funding going down is COVID era grants that are just have expired in the last year. This is a comparison from year to year. It will be published with our budget. I'm not going to read all of those numbers to you. So the major expenditure assumptions, new consolidated salary schedule, which includes a 5% minimum pay increase for all staff. Supplies and services based on projections with inflationary increases. Vision and life insurance, we're not expecting any rate increases. Dental insurance did go up by 5%. And we've estimated a 4% health insurance rate increase over FY25. The state has told us to expect 7.5% to 8% on the state plan, but our fiscal year cuts the calendar year in half, so we divide that. Again, the licensed retirement benefit rate has gone down. That comes from the state based on actuarial studies, and the non-licensed staff did not change. Staffing additions and reductions to support district goals and initiatives. I've got the ESG or ESCO agreements with the city, those payments. We are doing a science textbook adoption this year, and multiple facility improvement projects. We did work, as I said, with Lean Frog on that market salary analysis, consolidated our salary schedules, the minimum 5% pay increase for all staff. And these are the proposed staffing changes that we've got in this budget. A teacher at Glenwood based on enrollment, the nuclear pathways teacher at the high school, a district-wide nurse, And a SPED TA also have been added. We're eliminating a couple of positions, and another special ed TA at the high school that will be paid from federal funds. As I mentioned, we were going to use some of our fund balance this year, so our device replacement, okay, sorry, that got a little off when that got saved. We had set aside for device replacement, and we're going to be using 1.2 million of that, as well as undesignated fund balance of just shy of 5 million. So fund balance recommendations, in '24, we ended the year at about 17%. We're projecting to end this year around 18 to 19%, and after tapping into this year, at the end of '26, we expect to be at about 12.8%. GFOA recommends 10%, so we really try to stay above that, just to allow for cash flow throughout the year. This is just a graph representation of kind of how our fund balance changes month over month every year, and the historical is always interesting to me that trend never seems to change. And then this is just some information about the fund balance necessity, just again to help with cash flow is the major kind of overview of it. All right, pass it on to Alan.
In capital projects this year, the school district and the city of Oak Ridge are going to continue our cooperative approach toward improving facilities with Blankenship Field and Oak Ridge Baseball Softball Complex. That is nearing the end on that project. We successfully developed a roofing replacement plan with the city several years ago, and you can see that we've completed projects for schools within the district, including Robertsville, Willowbrook, Glenwood, Woodland, the Secret City Academy, and portions of Oak Ridge High School. Future roofing plans, Jefferson Middle School and additional sections of Oak Ridge High School. There's quite a large amount of Oak Ridge High School to go. And we'll continue to utilize the facility study and capacity study for all district buildings, and that we can adjust recommendations for the district's capital improvement plans. Historical view of our investment from the city. As you can see, starting in 2006, we were around 600,000. Had a peak of around 750,000, and then we dropped back down over the course of the 2014 through 2021. We've been steady at 300,000 since 2021. Last year, we received 300,000 plus the city generously approved the replacement of the Robertsville boiler in addition to our 300,000, giving a total contribution of the city to around 700,000. The roofing update, as we continue that process, we had a roof evaluation completed by Roof Connect in 2018, and it gave us a schedule of roof replacements. Roofing on Woodland Elementary School was completed this year, and of course we've got the future plans for the other schools. However, this year is the city's turn. We take a turn, and then the city takes a turn in a roofing replacement. So we'll have a year hiatus for any roof replacement in the schools, and then we'll pick back up the following year if we continue with our process. With ESG, we had a very successful phase 1 and phase 2, and we've been in conversations of what phase 3 would look like if we ever move forward with that. Primary focus would be with Oak Ridge High School and Glenwood Elementary based on their aging HVAC equipment. We're nearing the end of life schedule for those items, and so that would be a very large bite to take at once, but a energy services project may have a vehicle for us to do that more economically with the city.
You want to do that? Okay. So this is just kind of a high level of our next processes. So next Monday, we will have our special board meeting work session with the line-by-line review of the budget and the first reading. May 19th is our regular board meeting, second reading and adoption of the FY26 budget. And hopefully that evening I will be transmitting that over to the city. And on the 20th is the city council work session. June 2nd, first reading, and June 9th, second reading of the city's budget, unless those dates have changed. And that's all I've got.
All right, so
Mr.
that's what
Jenkins.
we have for the board. I know this is, night is typically a 70,000 foot level of where we're at. As Jennifer just said, next week we have our line by line and then first reading, and that's kind of when we get into a lot of the questions, if the board has them. As Ms. McLean has shared as well, if there's questions between now and Monday, please send them to me. We'll get you responses. We had a couple today, and I think we got some answers back out that were fitting and helped. So if that happens throughout the week, please send those questions.
Are there any questions from the audience? If so, please use the microphone.
I have one question. Well, actually, I have a couple, but I'll just be brief. So we have that one-time bonus. Is that tied into the voucher bill that was recently adopted? I think it was a $2,000 bonus for all teachers. And I didn't know if we would be receiving that or if it is based on whether or not we supported the voucher bill.
I'm going to yield to
Uh,
Dr.
yeah.
Borchert.
Yes, so our plan is to put that resolution that is required if you want to get that voucher for the $2,000. That'll be on our May 19th board meeting, and we will write that resolution and certainly make it known that we don't support vouchers, but in order for our staff to be able to get those $2,000, we will do, I think it's section 4 of that bill. So we'll do that, and then I think we're going to pay out in July. Is that correct, Ms. Van Dyke? So that's how that'll work.
Thank you, Dr. Borchers.
Not a question, but a comment. I do want to introduce our new finance director, Carrie Bates, to everybody in the audience. She started, 2 weeks ago, roughly? So she is probably very happy to see some of the slides that you put up tonight related to the city request. So thank you for that.
Okay, any more questions or comments?
Let me ask about the budget assumptions related to federal funding. Based on the latest news reports, what impact, if any, do you see on your presumptions on federal funding?
For FY26, none, because the federal government is basically, what they are issuing us next year is actually a year behind, or a year ahead, however you want to look at that. But what we get in FY26 was appropriated last year at the federal level. So we have about a year before, if there were any changes, we would see any of those changes. So those allocations, is that a good way to put it, Kelly?
Even on the lunch funding?
That doesn't
I think you
exist.
better
That
check.
is
I
actually,
think you
yeah.
better check that.
Yeah,
No,
I
no.
will look on the lunch funding.
Yeah,
But it does, so I was, when you said federal, I immediately went to 142, and our lunch lives in a different fund. But yes, I will definitely check on the lunch funding for you.
Well, it's not just for me, it's for you.
Well, absolutely, yes.
Okay, hearing no more questions, the board will be back in this room on Wednesday to meet with Student Services, and then we'll be here next Monday for our line-by-line review. Appreciate all of y'all being here. We are adjourned.